When in doubt, get yourself a friend like Sam Betesh. You're going to need a guy like Sam Betesh in your life because he is good people. My friend Betesh is now part of the Thinking Out Loud YouTube channel with our pal Andrew Siciliano. And look at you. I've been told there are 8 crazy nights. What night are you in? Is this 5 or 6?
This is, let's see here. So now this is a really special year. Now, first of all, beautiful. Thank you for having me. Love being here for the live stream, Damon. And this is a very unique, this is not just a leap year. This is not scoregami. Christmas and Hanukkah engaging like this, the way they are, intersecting in this very special way this year. This does not happen very often. It hasn't happened in decades. This is Christmas was last Wednesday, 25th. That was also the first night of Hanukkah, not Christmas Eve, but Christmas night was the first night of Hanukkah. So say it with me here. So we've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This makes Monday the 5th night of Hanukkah. Here we are.
5th night of Hanukkah. And our present tonight is a visit from Sam Betesh. It is so good to see you, man. I mean, Christmas, Hanukkah, not since we were roommates, right?
That's right. Damon,
this is the world colliding.
We did. We lit the candle. We had a Christmas tree in that apartment, and we also lit the Hanukkah, the menorah, the candles. We did it. We did it all. Because
we saw Jermaine Dye break his leg with a foul ball together. We were like, what the fuck just happened there?
Oh, it's absolutely awful. I passed an Ike's, by the way. Here's what I love about Ike's, and you just mentioned him. I passed in Southern California. Ike's is not just a Northern California treat. There are also Southern California locations. So for everyone here watching us, make sure you don't have to just enjoy Ike's in the Bay Area. You can enjoy Ike's outside of San Francisco as well. So
over 100 locations. He just opened up one in New Orleans, which was going to be like sort of a gathering point for Niner fans at the Super Bowl this year. And well, you look at it this way, Ike lived up to his end of the bargain. They opened that restaurant. The 49ers did not live up to their end of the bargain. And Sam, I guess that brings us to the great philosophical question that is surrounding tonight's game.
Sure.
Football will never be a sport of load management. Football has always been the sport. If the player's healthy, the player plays.
That's right.
But we are looking at a world of sports where players are getting paid so handsomely. Asset protection and management in a lost season is the wise thing to do. When you're about to give a guy $50 to $60 million to be your franchise quarterback, the last thing you want to have happen would be an injury in a meaningless game in a meaningless season that bit into the next season where you're going to try to right the ship. How do you see the way the 49ers approach this? And do you think they make the right call, the wrong call? It is what it is. How do you look at the situation the Niners are in tonight?
So you've seen my living room, Damon, obviously here in California on Gaviota. You've seen the 4 television setup here and then one outside as well. So it's fine. It's designed.
Sam decided the motif of his living room was going to be sports bar.
And again, having a wife and a 3-year-old now makes that interesting. Although, as you can imagine, he enjoys it. Levi, the 3-year-old, loves it. Allie, maybe not quite as excited about it, but this was essentially, you got me into the college basketball tournament. Okay. I was not as excited about it until you came into my life and you sort of taught me what it was all about. So my living room in many ways is designed for those days, the opening days of the tournament more than anything else, but also
where you need 6 TVs.
You need it. So NFL Sundays, clearly. My point here is primetime game to me in the NFL means nothing. The stat that followed Kirk Cousins for all those years, if you're playing an NFL game in your life, if that's your career, that's a primetime game, no matter what. I mean, you're playing in the most important league in the world at 1 Eastern on Sundays. Guess what that is? That's primetime. Right. You're playing in the NFL. It's primetime. You're telling me that the fact that the game's on Sunday night instead of Sunday afternoon matters to these guys, or Monday night. So there's, to me, no obligation for playing because the game is on ESPN tonight. That means nothing. It's simply that it's week 17, and should this matter? You hit on all the points that for me would matter. As a fan, even as a season ticket holder at this game means less than week 1 next season, period. It means less. Great. Even if I'm holding the ticket. In fact, if I'm such a beloved fan that I chose to go to this game, and this is the one game I could go to all season, I am still more invested in next season's outcome than the 4-hour experience I'm walking into for this evening. And that just goes for any fan.
Ricky Pearsall just made quite a one-handed grab here on the sideline. And, when you're asking for what did you want to see out of this game, I want to see young players get an opportunity to show us what they can do. And Ricky Pearsall just made the nicest, most acrobatic catch of his young career, a disappointing rookie season, all things considered.
Wait a second. Can we say disappointing? The fact that the guy's on the field is a miracle.
It is. But when you get on the field, when we get past it's a miracle you're out there, we eventually have to start evaluating you by what you do out there.
Yes.
And but I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It is not, getting a big impactful season out of a rookie wide receiver doesn't happen very often anywhere.
No,
but it really doesn't happen with Kyle Shanahan. And it really hasn't happened, unfortunately, with Ricky Pearsall or Jacob Cowing. Again, this team drafted 2 wide receivers last draft and has had wide receiver problems all season long.
Can we just say one thing? Bill Belichick had a very difficult time at that position.
He did.
Wide receiver was not easy for Belichick. And even look this season, and obviously it's not Belichick anymore, but nobody's talking about Polk this season as rookie wide receivers, and that's where New England went. I mean, and they had a chance, by the way. That was a trade with San Diego for McConkey. That ended up turning into McConkey. So it's sort of McConkey or Polk, New England and LA, who's very, very happy with McConkey, obviously. So back to your point, this game should be about evaluation. This should be a glorified preseason game. And as a fan, that's also exciting. Getting to know what next season's going to be.
Tanner Mordecai get a start. Pull him up from the practice squad. See if he's going to be on the roster behind Purdy next year. Yes or no? Because you're going to have to go cheap in the rest of your quarterback room if you're paying Brock that big cake. So
find out which guys have incentives in their contracts. And if they're out there to play, if someone needs 10 yards to hit a bonus, if someone needs 1 touchdown pass to hit a bonus, get them out there, get that taken care of, make that the priority, and get them off the field and keep them healthy. That's it. The rest of it shouldn't matter. And these guys want to win. But the other side of it is this. Here's what I find so interesting. The fact that it doesn't matter for the Lions makes it an easy decision. If this was knocking the line, if this was saying, hey, Lions, remember when you had a 20-point lead in the NFC Championship game and you couldn't get it done? We're here to punch you in the mouth again. That would be fun. That would be exciting. You think you've got such a great season going on and we're having a shitty one? We're here to punch you in the mouth, knock you down a peg.
Play
and now,
spoiler.
Spoiler's fun. Spoiler's fun, but you got no shot at that.
And just from a competitive integrity standpoint, like you owe it to the other teams in the NFC North to give your Lions your best punch. But no matter what happens, there is no change of the circumstance that the Lions will be in next week against the Vikings.
In fact, what's more egregious than even discussing what the Niners are doing here is actually the Lions. What's more relevant is, what are the Lions doing? Right. Because Goff being out there even for a drive, this doesn't make a lot of sense. They've got, look, the difference, think about what's on the line for the Lions. Forget about the fact that there's t-shirts and hats associated with winning the NFC North. This is the greatest swing. As far as obviously making the playoffs, missing the playoffs, we all admit is the greatest swing possible. Outside of that, 1 seed, bye week, hosting every game to wild card weekend on the road. That's the greatest swing you can have. And that's what's on the line next week for the Vikings and the Lions, no matter what happens in this game tonight. This game has no bearing on that. The Lions have a mini Super Bowl right before the playoffs against their greatest rival for this season. And this game was this was going to be the adorable NFC Championship rematch. It's not that,
right?
Based on what's happening for the Niners anyway.
Do you want the road to the Super Bowl to go through the Pontiac Silverdome, or don't you?
That's it. That's it. Come on, Damon. Think about. Just think about for the Niners. How about this? Think about for the Niners. In 2 seasons ago, Niners didn't have home field advantage. Went to Philadelphia. Obviously, we all remember Purdy gets injured. They don't go to the Super Bowl. Then they host the NFC Championship game against the Lions, erase a 20-point deficit, and go to the Super Bowl. That's the difference between getting the 1 seed and not. And This is what's on the line. What the Lions should have. We should be looking at nobody recognizable tonight for the Lions. That's what's even more surprising here.
No doubt. No doubt. Sam Betesh, boys and girls, joining us. Sam's got a YouTube page now with Andrew Siciliano, who's a longtime NFL Network host, a longtime Red Zone host. He stepped away from the on-camera duties to become this year's radio play-by-play voice of the Cleveland Browns. And awesome. Considering he grew up a Browns fan, what a great thing for him. I know that it happened under circumstances he would have rather not seen play out. Yes. The Browns lost their longtime radio play-by-play man to cancer before the season started, and Siciliano was tapped to be the replacement. And by the way, Siciliano's done a great job as the replacement. Please give him the best.
Sure. He loves Damon. He loves you. He loves this channel. He loved being a part of it. He'll do it again, and he's a huge fan of your work as well. So
thank you, Kyle Juszczyk. Oh, touchdown, Kyle Juszczyk. Oh my God, here come the 49ers opening a can o whoop ass. A couple of red zone trips, a couple of touchdowns. Kyle Juszczyk actually doing something positively to affect the outcome of a game for a while. Yeah, he is in. You can take a look at that. That is a touchdown for sure.
He's
no doubt about it.
No push needed. We don't need a challenge flag on this one. By the way, the Pearsall, I'm surprised the Pearsall touch, the first touchdown was not called 6 on right immediately.
Yeah, I thought it was just right away.
I mean, when you see someone catching it at the goal line in that way, obviously the point of the ball touching his body at that point, I mean, unless he is clearly bobbling that ball, that should have been called on the field. And I always side with calling it a touchdown so you get that automatic review anyway.
Right. When in doubt, trigger the review. Easier?
I mean, I do understand the problem there is that you then need that irrefutable evidence to take it away. So I can understand getting it right, but the Pearsall looked absolutely like that. Well, good for my bet tonight. I do hope the Niners win this game for sure.
14-6. Niners are covering. Look at that. Look at that.
Nice. They certainly are. In a game, like I said, that does not, as we both know, means nothing for either side. And again, pride is just out the window. I'm with you. Again, I'm a Niners fan. I don't want anything to happen tonight that's going to affect next season. Nothing.
No doubt. No doubt.
I want Kittle. And we're not talking. And again, here's the other thing, especially when what's the number one issue for the 49ers season 2024? What's the number one issue been this season? Health.
Well, it's on the field. Yes. So I'm starting to think like, all right, trouble up front on the offensive line and wide receiver. But yes, definitely. Overall, no doubt about it. Where's Christian McCaffrey been? Where's Trent Williams, for goodness sakes? That has been a huge part of the downfall of this year.
I mean, McCaffrey, Mason, Garendo. I mean, it's just that just follows it. Debo's always going to sit his 3 games. Kittle's got a couple games where he's up in the air. You know, I mean, even Purdy was out games this season. I mean, this season has been rough in regards to injury. And so now you're talking about guys playing where they could be injured, etc. Am I happy it's a competitive, interesting Monday Night Football game? Sure. But regardless.
Here's the thing. You go ahead and win. Just as long as no one gets hurt, that's all that really matters. Barry Ford coming in with a super. Thank you very much, Barry. Mary said this one's for Jill, sending in the love, prosperous 2025. Thank you very, very much, Barry. Appreciate that. Brett just saying, hit that like button. Yeah, now's the time to do it, boys and girls. Hit the like button, make that algorithm, pick this show up, kiss it on its forehead. I want Damon to take a shot. We get 50 supers in here. And I start drinking Betesh.
Really? What are we drinking, by the way?
Auto Pulse. It's a little Michter's bourbon right there.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Nice.
Really good stuff. And thank you very much, Sarah, the domestic goddess. Sarah, let's go. Proud of him. There you go. Sarah's feeling it.
Okay, so she is. So I just feel like it's all about next year. And by the way, the NFC North is fascinating. And Damon, you spent a lot of time, obviously Bears wise. I know there's obviously that runs through you as well with understanding the Bears over the years as well. And that NFC North coming down to Detroit and Minnesota the way that it is, and the fact that it's going to be the 1 seed is so spectacular and so surprising this season because of Darnold. I mean, Darnold also, I mean, from a Niners perspective, is there any part of the Niners out there who are thinking, you know what, Darnold's sort of like a tip of the cap to Shanahan? The resurrection of Sam Darnold does not happen without that stop in Santa Clara. Clearly,
I absolutely think that it got Sam Darnold out of the clinical, provable, top-down dysfunction of the New York Jets. I mean, the New York Jets of course they took out Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold. They destroyed Aaron Rodgers, for goodness sakes, so this is a powerful level of dysfunction that I don't think anyone can overcome. I think sitting behind Purdy gave Darnold some perspective. I think it made him work harder. I think Shanahan absolutely coached some good football into him. And then he gets behind the offensive line, an incredibly friendly quarterback coach in Kevin O'Connell, with Justin Jefferson being the best weapon, not named Jamar Chase in football. I mean, and well, Saquon Barkley aside, of course, and we'll get to him in a little bit, Sam. I know you want to talk about him.
All right.
But it's Darnold is in a really good situation. And I think all quarterbacks are an accumulation of the situation they're in. You put Sam Darnold on Carolina, there is no great comeback, feel-good Sam Darnold story to tell, I don't think.
No, and again, you mentioned Carolina. That was the last time he even blipped on the radar, and that was a 3-0 start. But then that fell apart. That was the Matt Rule team that ultimately did not finish things out. And you can see Darnold at USC. And look, there's no. I mean, look, you're not in the discussion for the number 1 draft pick overall if it's not there somewhere. And of course, it's a combination of things, and we talk about this all the time. But both Baker and Darnold, really, because Baker's career was also Baker Mayfield was in the same boat as Darnold and resurrected it there in Tampa. I mean, it was in Cleveland. He had won the playoff game. He had beaten the Steelers in the playoffs. It felt like it was going the right way. The next season, it didn't. The Browns moved on, and it seemingly was done for Baker Mayfield. And this has been a beautiful story for what happened to him in Tampa. But the Darnold thing, having those ties to Shanahan, is really it's interesting, and it's just that quarterback school that he went to. I think again, it's a bit of a tip of the cap to the Niners in a way, a soft spot that the Niners should have to watch Darnold and see what he's doing in Minnesota.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, we got over 200 people in the room right now. We're not even at 100 likes, so just hit the thumbs up. It's really easy to do. Costs you no money. It's not like we're going to be, crashing and invading your algorithms obnoxiously or anything like that. We got Space Cowboy going with 1, 2, 3, 4 super stickers right in a row. I don't even know if you meant to do that, Space Cowboy, but thank you very much. Hopefully you're not just pushing buttons by accident. And if it is, no refunds. So thank you. Thank you very, very much. Really appreciate it. And happy New Year indeed.
Did you see what Joe Schmo? Did you see what Joe Schmo wrote there? I just want to give an ode.
Vikings boat party. Lake Minnetonka, is that it?
It was Minnetonka. And do you remember this? So that year, this was we're going back to, this is maybe 2007, I believe. But this was that Halloween. I had a group of friends who dressed up as the Vikings on the boat.
On the Lake Minnetonka.
Such a good Halloween costume. That was the best.
About things you probably can't do anymore, right?
No, that was the best NFL boat story out before Odell had the picture on the boat. That was before
we got the New York Giants picture and yacht party that basically ended the franchise.
So I think someone said, right, that was the last time or someone gave me what their record is since then. They're well under 500 since that boat picture. But yeah, it has been.
Is that it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously they've won a playoff game. We can't say they haven't won a playoff game since then because Daniel Jones, we already talked about it. He did win a playoff game.
A lot of good that did him.
Look how that sunk the Giants. Look how that playoff win. Sometimes, okay, you root for your team to win in the playoffs, but be careful sometimes. Be careful. And we can talk about this because with Purdy, there's still, I think, no quarterback affects.
Hold on. Gibbs is getting loose right now. Hold on here, Sammy. Oh, boy. Gibbs just broke one off.
Okay.
He's good, man. He's so good.
Why is Gibbs playing? For a team that lost David Montgomery, why is Gibbs playing?
Great question.
The most important 4 hours of their season is happening next Sunday night. This short week, most important game, Sunday Night Football. There's a little bit of me that understands the demons of this building last season to this team. For those that didn't watch the Receiver series on Netflix, it's so, even if you just fast forward, if you don't love Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams and you want to fast forward to that, to see Kittle, Debo, and Amon-Ra St.Brown relive their path and experience in the NFC Championship game, that is special. That is so cool just to follow that all the way and to see both sides of it. Mike Silver with a nice moment in there when they're watching the end of the game, the Niners to clinch. But I mean, there was really, I understand for the Lions that it feels as if there was something that happened in this building last year that they have to overcome this season, right? This is the scene of the crime. It happened here, but there's nothing, this outcome does not wipe that out. And there's nothing to prove. They played, first of all, most people thought they played over their head that day in building that lead. Nobody saw the Lions coming in and leading at halftime the way they were in that NFC championship. So I just don't, I really, especially at that position, to have lost Montgomery and playing Gibbs tonight, I just don't understand when everything is in front of you.
Okay, so it looks like Jared Goff has been sacked, but we have a head-on-head collision between Nick Bosa and who is down?
Okay, let's see. Oh, wow, okay, and they're breaking away, so we're not going to be able to see that unless I rewind.
So we got stingers. I mean, you want to talk about what's something you don't want happening tonight? That would be Nick Bosa is suffering a neck injury. Good, for goodness sakes.
By the way, what's the number one Nick Bosa play? What's the number one Nick Bosa play for this season? I've got a quick answer.
The MAGA hat.
Okay.
You want to talk about what's your record since? Let's do the MAGA hat. What's the Niners record since that? What is Nick Bosa's biggest play of the season? It's been a very quiet season for Nick.
The number one memorable play from Nick Bosa this season for me will be Baker Mayfield escorting him out of bounds to convert a 4th and 7. That play will live in my mind forever. That it was because it's so impressive that it's converting a 4th and 7 where the game's over. I mean, yes, the Bucs did eventually lose that game, but it's extending the game. It's getting you close to overtime there for Baker. It's essentially a game tying drive. And considering the Hall of Famer on the other end who is trying to tear you down, the strength out of Baker Mayfield on that play is legendary. That is legend status Baker Mayfield play to do that against Bosa.
Outside of planting the flag in the stadium,
yes.
I mean, planting a stiff arm on the guy is probably much more embarrassing too. It looks like Nick Bosa's jogging into the blue 10 here, boys and girls.
This is what we're talking about, Damon. This is what we're talking about.
D. Winters is sitting over here trying to open his mouth. He's got I got my jaw
somewhere in my jaw. Yeah, I'll
rocked a little bit right there. They got to Goff, but what happened was Bosa and Winters just both collided helmet into helmet
friendly
there.
Fire here. That's the last thing.
It was a total friendly fire. Look, football's a dangerous sport. That's all it is, boys and girls. It's why you don't want players who matter towards next year playing we're essentially end of season preseason games.
This is just an out of sequence week 18 game. Right. That's really what this is. In essence, if this were week 18, no one would flinch at saying, all right, we understand it. You're sitting guys down, you're resting. Right. I mean, but the Lions actually have what comes down to it's basically a playoff game next week. In so many ways, I mean, it's not going to end the season for either team, but it is so stacked and full of meaning. And this one just isn't. Whatever. I mean, look, Dan Campbell's got a plan. They're following him no matter what he does. And I've loved the way he's coached. This is just bizarre considering the injury and especially at that position. Gibbs to me is the one. Gibbs would not touch the field. If I had anything to do with the Lions, that's the guy I just don't want to see out there with Montgomery already shelved. That's just,
at what point in this game would the score, what does the score need to be for you to just white flag it if you're Dan Campbell? Or are you going to be so married to the fact that you're Dan Campbell saying we got to, bite some kneecaps off? They're going to, oh my God, a little hook and ladder down the side. What a call. What a play call designed the whole way. Williams has scored his second touchdown of the night.
Unbelievable.
If you're the Lions, you got to go for 2. And it looked like Williams jumped out of, did like a Levi's leap, and he's lucky.
Do you remember this play, Damien? This won the Cardinals game for the Lions. Do you remember this? So early in the season, this is either week 3 or week 4. Detroit and Arizona are actually in a 1-score battle. Arizona had just pick-sixed Goff, and it was there was a penalty that wiped out the pick-6 for the Cardinals, and then within 4 plays, the Lions ran that exact play to go up 2 scores and never looked back against the Cardinals. But they ran that against Arizona, absolutely, and it worked beautifully.
That is some like Big 12 Baylor Texas Tech overtime style of play right there.
That was great.
Wow,
and beautiful.
On third down, they convert. Not going for two. Dan Campbell. Again, why wouldn't you look to tie it up right there, Dan? I'm surprised that you're not going for it right there. But all right, you don't need it, certainly. And we got more of a game than maybe a lot of people expected here. We got more offense than maybe most expected out of this game. We are at commercial break now.
How'd you like
9 remaining in the second quarter?
How'd you like the play that Ben Johnson drew up against the Bears, where Goff pretends to fall down with Gibbs?
I mean, first of all, did you even need to put that one on film for everyone to see against the Bears? I was a little surprised by that, but I'll tell you, it's so funny how often a special teams punt return momentary bobble can be the thing that unleashes that play. Something that throws timing off. The natural rhythm and timing of a football play is that shit pops more often than not. It really does. Yes. And you might hold your breath there for a second, but it benefits. It really does. And that was a hell of a play. It was a hell of a play. And one step in the wrong direction from a linebacker is all you need there. And everybody bites on that. Ball, right? I mean, everyone's thinking ball. Right. And the funny thing is that you heard Goff talk about it afterwards, that Johnson actually wanted him. He asked him, do you think you could fumble the ball on purpose and get it back? And Jared's like, can you dribble it for me?
Jared's like, it is a football. I don't know that I want to put it on the ground necessarily, but they came up with that, and Gibbs sold it hard. I mean, that was done. It was executed beautifully, but so was the hook and ladder. And from a Niners standpoint,
that was a beautiful play right there. So we got ourselves a game down at Levi Stadium. We got ourselves a live stream right here. It is brought to you, as you can see, powered by BetUS. Go ahead and use promo code YouTube150 when you sign up at BetUS. You get a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. Our good friends at the Dubliner and West Portal, a phenomenal bar. Get yourself to the Dubliner and West Portal. When in San Francisco, go tell Kenny and John that Damon and the Plouffe sent you. They love hearing that. And my man Ike is something delicious just waiting for you. Look at it this way, Sammy. We got rings. You wanted rings tonight? Oh. There you go. We got onion rings. It's right on the sandwich. You can get it right there. Little ribeye, little steak sauce, little provolone. Me, I don't go any tomato on it. I go lettuce, onions, pickles, maybe a jalapeno. Oh, okay. And I'm a French bread guy. I'm not a Dutch crunch guy, Sammy.
I like French too. The right French bread. Dutch is sort of a cheat code. It's beautiful. But Dutch crunch is usually because your French bread would not be up to par. We know what Ike's it all is. But normally at a sandwich shop, if they're going Dutch crunch, they're not as excited about the French bread. And French bread is the king when it comes to sandwiches. I'm with you on that. And the rings, of course. And Damon does have rings. And that is a gorgeous sandwich, by the way.
Thank you very much.
That is a gorgeous
sandwich. Again, as a human being, not much. As a sandwich, goddamn, handsome.
That came together. Williams, man. I mean, this Lions team, look, as an Eagles fan, I know firsthand how a team with injuries can win a Super Bowl. But that is, if the Lions don't, that will be the story. Is obviously you go back to, I mean, there's the Hutchinson injury, the Montgomery injury, and then on defense, they are decimated beyond the Hutchinson thing over the last 2 weeks.
4 other guys.
It's just weird. It's just, again, this game, to see him playing like this is weird, considering. And although on defense, I'll say this: on defense, you probably want to see those guys that haven't been in there now. I can understand on the defensive side, because of the injuries that have new guys in there. Let's keep the defense out there. Let's see what we got. We need to scheme up the defense. Fine, I get that, but Gibbs, St.Brown, Goff, not options in this game for me. Not at all.
4 possessions, 4 touchdown drives in this game. Goff and Purdy, 13 of 13 so far, with 3 touchdowns in between them. So very good start.
Yes. You know what? I'm sorry. I have one thing to say about why offensively the Lions should be playing who they're playing. I actually, and I've said it, Goff could win MVP. Jared Goff could win MVP. Jared Goff could win MVP. He's got a 5 interception game, which they won, by the way. But Jared Goff, if you go back and look, even in the loss, by the way, in the loss to the Bills, 5 touchdowns. I mean, Jared Goff is, go and look at the numbers completion percentage wise, nearly 75%. If they get the 1 seed, again, Allen's going to sit, right? So you basically got a week now. Week 18, you're going to have Josh Allen sitting, and you're going to have Goff, and Lamar playing major games. I also want to throw it out that Burrow also, if the Bengals can sneak in, Burrow is still absolutely in that conversation. We can get to the Saquon thing. I don't want to have the Saquon conversation as part of this right now. I just want to say, I just want it to be said out loud enough times as possible. But Goff could absolutely win MVP. I'd have no problem with that.
I wouldn't either. I think that it is going to come down between like Allen, Lamar, and Barkley in some way, and I don't have a problem with that at all. Clearly, Joe Burrow is getting Cincinnati Bengaled right out of his MVP campaign because the team's been a letdown around him. I think if we're all being honest with each other, the MVP of this league is Patrick Mahomes. Like, I don't care what his stats are. The fact that he is getting like the Jordan treatment now. Any year Jordan was out there, he was the MVP of the league, but they needed to give it to somebody else just to not give it to him every single year. If you gave it to Mahomes, I wouldn't say a word. I really wouldn't.
That's that's the one thing I haven't heard of all the people that love to get mad on camera about this debate. That's one I haven't heard enough. And this will be one historically for guys like you and me. We'll look back. We'll talk to grandchildren.
One to Ricky Pearsall.
It's the Pearsall game. Let's go.
It's
the Ricky Pearsall game. Let's go.
Where were you when Ricky Pearsall's nuts dropped? Well, I was watching Damon and Sam on YouTube, and it was a hell of a night.
We're going to look back. Wow. Fifth night of Hanukkah, Ricky Pearsall. This is all we wanted.
By the way, total busted coverage. Oh, my God. Ricky was running wide open right there. He just separated from that bunch formation. As Greg Papa described that bunch, right?
That's a special one right there. Really, I mean,
what do the Niners do here on they're in the red zone? A little pitch back to Garendo.
What a great, by the way, great play design. Great play design.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but they're down there. They're officially down there.
So we're gonna have every drive. Are we gonna have every drive end in a touchdown here for the entire first half? Let's go.
Just going full PlayStation 5 game. No punting.
Yeah, just no punting at all. A missed extra point, which you can again credit the Niners for. That was a nice play on the
already start playing for that last possession. Whoever's got the ball last wins.
Let's go. That at least would be worth everyone playing if it comes down to that. If we get one of those,
131 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nice start to his evening, to say the least. Purdy's going to take off up the middle. Purdy, do not get hurt. Purdy dives in, touchdown. Oh, my goodness. Brock, don't do that again tonight. Holy shit. Do not risk yourself. Do not be diving head first. But there you go. Brock Purdy, 9-yard touchdown rush. And the 49ers are in position to take a 21-13 lead. Another touchdown drive, 3 touchdowns, 3 possessions. Where was this all year, Sammy? This is like the New York Giants game. You guys disappointed all year long, and now when you needed to start losing, you look hard, unbeatable with Drew Lock out there, and now Brock Purdy and the 49ers offense has had as crisp a first half as we have seen in any game.
Yeah, where was this in the snow in Buffalo, right?
Where was this in the dome in Minnesota back in week 2? Where was this at SoFi Stadium in week 3? Where was this against the Seahawks at home? Where was this in a handful of games?
Can we go back to week 3 real quick? Because we're going to have this conversation. We should. In regards to paying Brock Purdy, week 3 was the game. If you're in charge of the arbitration argument for Brock Purdy, go to that week 3 loss to the Rams. I thought that was Brock Purdy's most impressive game of his career, and here's why. You had no McCaffrey in that game. You had no Kittle, and I believe it was no Debo. I think Ayuk was in that game. It was the Jennings coming out game. It was the Jennings 3 touchdown game. I mean, I certainly remember it for that. But Brock Purdy was so impressive in that game where you thought, wow, there's no weapons on the field today. This is going to be ugly. And there were no weapons for the Rams either. They were both incredibly injured in that game. But because it was no Cup, no Nakua as well. But that game, Brock Purdy put that team on his back, put that team in position to win. I have no idea how they not only lost that game in regulation. How did the Niners lose that game in regulation? I have no idea. Up 10 late the way that they were. But that, in fact, didn't they win that game without an onside kick recovery? I don't think they won. Because I remember the statistic for a while was there were only 2 onside kicks recovered all season, and they were both against the Ravens.
No, so I don't think there was an onside kick recovery. It was a kick return for touchdown.
Yes, you're absolutely exactly. Yes, you're right. So it wasn't even an onside kick, and they made that comeback. Exactly. So, but that game, if you go back, forget about how painful the end was, and it was brutal. It was disgusting. But look at what Purdy did in that game. He was so special without anyone around him. And if you're making an argument that, Purdy's done this because of Shanahan's scheme or because of the weapons that the Niners have, etc., if you're going to pay Purdy and you want to look at what he can do, that would be the game. I would show up with those week 3 reels and say, here we go. This is the guy that we're going to pay $50 million for.
By the way, it didn't cost Julio $50 million. 5 was a generous enough number there. Thank you very much. Brock the Rock Purdy Thomas coming in with a super as well. This O-line is them. Oh, we're already at the him-them portion of this offensive line play. Well, I'll tell you, Matt Mayoko, he let you know who was out there earlier on this one. You got Charlie Heck, who they signed off the street like 2 weeks ago. It's his first start as a member of the Niners. Nick Zakelj, who is most famous for being from Fordham and Brock's roommate. Jake Brendel, probably the worst starting center in football all year long. Dominic Pooney, really nice rookie year, but he's hit a little bit of a rookie wall. Colton McKivitz, not exactly the most steady Eddie right tackle in football. And this is what Purdy is playing behind tonight. And so far, playing behind this version of the Washington hog mollies of the Redskin days of yore. Yikes. Brock Purdy is 9 for 9. Excuse me. Hold on. Wait, make sure I got this all.
No, definitely one more, right? One more since then.
Well,
I thought the long Pearsall was the 10th. No, maybe it was the 9th. All right.
9 for 9, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's got a perfect 158.3 rating. And Goff is 6 for 6. Touchdown and a perfect 158, but there has yet to be an incomplete pass in this football game unless it happened as I was reading that to you.
It has not.
And this is the level of efficiency nobody thought that they were signing up for tonight as we approach about 6 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. We got nearly 270 people in the room right now. If everyone leaned in and hit that like button, there would be 300, then 400 people in the room because YouTube will keep on pushing this show out to the good people of YouTube. Oh, I unclicked you there for a second, Sammy. I need a producer. What I need is a caliber producer that Sam Betesh knows all about.
We can make that happen. We've stolen me from you. We've stolen other beautiful producers from you. Shout out to John Goulet, of course, as well. I think even Cyrus could help us on this one. Yeah, it's definitely
Brock, but that's going to have to buy 3 more Toyotas after tonight. He's going to have to be in the Toyota business again tonight for sure. Nick Zakelj, you get a Toyota. Now, here's the thing. Everyone got one already. I mean, I'm guessing the new guy didn't.
I know. This is just Heck. He just showed up, right? They're just, they're learning his name, so that's probably not. What'd you think of the Joe Burrow samurai swords that he bought for his lineman? That's a cool gift.
Candlesticks make a nice gift, but yes, samurai swords, I'm down with it. Given his money, that gift sucks. Unless those are all like Hattori Hanzo swords straight out of Kill Bill. I'm not that,
okay. Crouching Tiger samurai swords. I'd rather the Toyota. I'd say in that case, I'd rather Toyotas. Apparently, Burrow explained that. Apparently, they wanted guns, and he said, "I'm not buying you guys guns."
Well, I mean, it is Cincinnati.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. You never know. I think we finally had an incompletion. If that's not a fumble by Goff, so.
I mean, well, first of all, you're telling me that is that is an incomplete pass. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Coming forward, unlike Kenny Pickett. You saw that play Kenny Pickett tried to make or unmake yesterday.
What was
how athletic is it? There was something out of Cirque du Soleil. I thought that was remarkable. Really,
he was going to do a cartwheel holding the ball,
full circle. I feel like you needed a flaming circle around that. I didn't know what he was trying to do there, but again, another thing that happens on Sundays that I could never do athletically. So there you have it. I'm impressed with this game in so many ways, but I really am. I just don't like watching the game feeling as if the number one thing I want is for people to get off the field healthy and away and into the next week. and for the Niners the next season. I just don't want to see anything. And again, it's just both coaches have it staring in their face how wrong it could all go. The Niners know how when a season starts without your best players on the field, how that looks. I mean, think about it. And by the way, do you put it on that? I mean, the Niners to me was like playing catch up all season with the idea that McCaffrey's going to be back. All you have to do to overcompensate, again, it's if your left leg is banged up and all this, right? You're now catering more to your right leg, and that's going to cause issues in your life. That's what the Niners were doing. That's what affected this Niners season, is not having McCaffrey to start.
I thought also just having a 6-month-long ridiculous negotiation with Brandon Ayuk where no one could make a decision one way or the other. And I think Ayuk was pretty damn immature in that. And he, agrees to a number that was sitting on the table for a month, which is frustrating. The whole Trent Williams hold in, that was a little ridiculous too. Like there was no scenario where Trent wasn't coming back where you weren't going to pay him.
Oh, he's worth every.
What did you gain? What did you gain by his holdout? Because I think it cost you one of 2 early season losses. I think the Niners need to re-examine how they go about extending and approaching contracts in the offseason, because they made their own hard hill to climb even steeper by just acting slowly on deals we knew were going to get done.
And again, Super Bowl hangover. This is the classic Super Bowl, which by the way had not been a thing in a while. Super Bowl hangover at one point knocked each team that lost in the Super Bowl was just bang, not in the playoffs, bang, not in the, and then that changed a few years ago. So it's not always that.
Right.
This will be one of those where it did apply, but you already had that to overcome. Where the and again, for this Niners team, a little different. Niners to lose to the Chiefs twice, up 10 twice, the overtime coin toss. Did you do the right thing? I mean, there was a lot. This was not that any Super Bowl loss is more painful than another one, but to have it
this
happen
was as painful as it gets.
And again, the recent memory of the other one sitting on you, same opponent. You're right. This was going to be a rough one to come to really muster up the strength to say we can do it again. We're going to climb the mountain again. That was going to be hard anyway. And then exactly what you said about the contracts and with McCaffrey out, so this should be, And now, guess what? By the way, and now what? So what are you going to do? So how fast is this Purdy thing going to happen? How fast is this Purdy thing going to happen this offseason then? Because exactly what you just said.
Here's the thing. I want it locked up before the NFL draft. I mean, know who you are going into that decisively, critically, know what the numbers look like, have Purdy's number locked in so you know what you're spending in free agency. Get it done early. I mean, if there is nothing to negotiate because he is good resume, young enough, and here's the deal, man. Market timing. If you are a really good quarterback hitting the market at the right time, you're getting $55 million. That's just it. That's all there is to it.
It's one of Andrew's.
Nothing to negotiate.
That was one of Siciliano's favorite points to make when we were discussing in the offseason. So you had Tua and Trevor Lawrence. So there's a couple things. So Purdy, the guy that's going to stay in the Purdy negotiations is clearly Daniel Jones. But there's 2 other things to look at. Look at Trevor Lawrence and Tua. So the guys that most recently got paid in an offseason, and both looked like slammed coming into the season. Nobody was complaining about those contracts. I mean, we should all complain when Mahomes isn't the top paid guy. Let's admit that. Just like you said about the MVP conversation. So anytime you're looking at a list of quarterback salaries and Mahomes is not on top.
Not even in the top 10 right now.
Right. So we should all complain about that. So let's all admit that looks ridiculous on paper. But what you just said is the most important thing. If you are a quarterback and your number comes up at this time, like we saw with Dak Prescott, you're a starting NFL level quarterback. You're going to be highest paid. And the next guy that's up, you're going to be the highest paid. And the next guy that's up, you're going to be the highest paid. So Brock Purdy is in position to be the highest paid quarterback in this league. And it's just going to come down to how much more he's making than Tua or Trevor. That's it.
Life is timing, boys and girls. Life is timing, and Brock's timing is going to benefit him tremendously. And look, the team is going to be able to put a good team around, but they're good Purdy. There are good teams around Jalen Hurts. He gets paid an awful lot of money. There's good teams around Josh Allen. He gets paid an awful lot of money. There's a pretty good team around Patrick Mahomes. I know it's not as sexy as it used to be, but clearly by record, that's still a pretty good football team.
And by the way, greatest collection of receivers. In case the league wants to be more terrified about the Chiefs, they're 15-1. They're 15-1, and of course they don't have to win next week, but they're 15-1, and this is the best collection of receivers he's ever had. Look at Hollywood Brown, Juju, Xavier, Hopkins, and then we'll say Kelsey.
Hopkins is the game changer, right?
Of course,
that's the game changer.
Of course he is. But Hollywood now, right? I mean, Hollywood, if he had played all season, maybe say, okay, he's Hollywood. Fresh Hollywood is also an interesting wrinkle. It's really that's gonna rear its head in the playoffs. I see that. I do see that. But that's scary. But Purdy's getting paid. Yeah,
Purdy's a screen that's going to set up a big third down here, Sam. Let's get into this game. We're about 90 seconds to play, minute 24 on the clock. The clock is stopped right now. It's going to be 3rd and 5. The 49ers, who've just been getting gashed defensively. I mean, everything this offense has shown up to do tonight, there has been but one sack on Jared Goff, very little resistance with anything the Lions are doing offensively. Another bad night of tackling, another night of leaning, a night of questioning Nick Sorensen. And, hey, everyone expects rookies to be finished products on day one, which is a little silly. Everyone expects first-year coordinators to be finished products on day one. It's not going to happen. That's why I didn't like the hire to begin with. I wanted to see an experienced defensive coordinator, not as an overseer in Brandon Staley, when his defenses in Los Angeles were bad compared to what Harbaugh is getting out of basically the same product now.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
no, you called it. The guy you'd want to see, the adjustment that should have been made was what happened in New York. When Saleh, when Saleh gets that phone call, that's an immediate, you're just here in the building hanging out. Whether you get the job title or not, you're at least hanging out watching.
By the way, we had a stopped play on 3rd down. So 4th and 3, Jared Goff is out on this field. Jared Goff is the Lions and Dan Campbell are going to run a play here.
Ben Johnson is ordering from the menu for sure right now. Ben Johnson.
All I can tell you right now is that
menu. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
There's Dan. That's our guy. What's he got queued up here on 4th?
Come on, D's nuts.
Let's see what he's got. Goff dropping back deep into the end zone. Incomplete, no flags. The 49ers defense has held in the red zone for the first time in a calendar year, as far as I'm concerned.
And the first drive of this game that has not ended in a touchdown for either team.
No punts. Still in this game. No punts. What a play by Diamador Lenore, by the way. No, excuse me. That was Renardo Green, the rookie.
Going for Laporta there. Going for Laporta.
Yep. Renardo Green. What a great play by the rook. I mean, are you still a rook this deep into your rookie year? I guess you are. But
what a play. No, spectacular play.
Hell of a play. Spectacular play.
Spectacular play. With it, by the way, Laporta, who is a far larger man.
Never daunted. Huge. Hell of a play. We got happiness. We got Red Jet, happy. Mustafa with a hit. Yeah, dude, but it was Green who made that beautiful, beautiful deflection. Nice play.
It's been a big weekend for the tight ends. McBride had a tremendous day. Pitts had a huge play on Sunday Night Football as well. It's been a great, great weekend for the tight ends. So Kelsey had the record-setting touchdown on Christmas as well. So likely,
by the way, you
also
can't
was
flag
in the end zone.
that celebration. That's a tribute to Tony Gonzalez. Come on, what are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing? It always brings me back to the Key and Peele skit, where it's like the 2 thrusts versus the 3rd thrust.
Right. So one of the funnier points I saw was so Beyonce comes out on Christmas and does an incredibly complicated halftime show with a million moving parts.
Beautiful white horse.
An entertainer, no doubt about it. And at several times she's out there and she's doing 6 shooters. That should be a 15-yard penalty. How can you have 6 shooters at halftime, but not during the game? Can't have that there. My favorite point though about the whole, like, whenever a player does like a boom or max shooting, is that when the Patriots score a touchdown, they literally have guys dressed in Revolutionary War dudes, like on their knees, firing muskets.
What about the Buccaneers? The touchdown call is fire the cannon.
Fire the cannon.
They fire a cannonball essentially in the stadium. And there's Deckerhoff. Fire the cannon! Fire the cannon! Every time they're in the end zone. Fire the cannon! So yeah,
this is where people start getting pissed off. Why the fuck do we have to wait to week 17 to start playing like this? Well, look, I don't think anybody really realized that Charlie Heck was the greatest left tackle in the history of professional football. It's a good thing the 49ers stumbled into him about 3 weeks ago.
Thanks to Mayoka giving us the lineup there. I did not know it.
Look, when you can get it cooking behind that offensive line, you get it cooking, baby. You get it cooking.
And we still got time to play with here.
And now, so the Niners got the ball to start the game. So we can't have the old Shanahan loves the wraparound.
Yeah.
But how aggressive is he going to be right here? I've always said Shanahan, it's really weird. He's conservative when he needs to be aggressive, and he's aggressive when he needs to be conservative. Here is a place where you do not want a turnover. But you do on first down want to uncork a little something. Yeah, Brock, just get rid of it. That was not working out well at all. And now Kyle will run the ball.
Yeah, this will be it.
I think now Kyle's going to get a little choky Kyle here.
How can this be the last place team in the NFC West?
In a down year for the NFC West.
NFC West was anybody's. Except, you know what's interesting? The Niners are the only team that didn't lead this division this season.
Not for a day, right?
I don't think the Niners led this division for one day this season.
Not for a day. By the way, Brock uncorked one. The 49ers are in midfield right now.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes. Let's go.
Isaac Guerendo, a 40-yard catch and run. Another pass to Guerendo. No, excuse me. That was a replay. Look at this. Just Guerendo, a little wheel route out of the backfield. Is that what we got?
Purdy, though. Nice toss from Purdy.
Perfect throw. Layered throw right down the sideline. Beautiful throw.
Wow.
Shanahan, grit and teeth. He's happy.
That's a nice play. Yeah,
Thomas Selman watching from Rome, Georgia. Great show.
Right.
K13. Thank you very much. George is in the house. Go Dogs. Beat Ohio State.
Wow. Okay, this got interesting.
Dude,
I wish. Can I just? Do you know what kind of Niners fan I would have been tonight had the Packers won that game yesterday? This performance by the Niners against the Lions, had the Packers beaten the Vikings yesterday, puts the Eagles in line for the 1 seed. This would have come down to all the Eagles would have needed is a win in Week 18 and I believe a Vikings win on Sunday night, and the Eagles would have been the 1 seed.
You don't have to go anywhere at halftime, right? You can stick around through halftime.
Yeah, well, let's hang. Yeah, let's hang.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're chilling.
Yeah,
we're chilling.
Yeah. John Lund came in as a second quarter guest, and we did 3.5 hours together.
Okay,
so,
these are the things that happen, right? Yeah. I can do that. I can match that. We're going. Yeah, we can roll through halftime here.
Hey, Brock uncorks another one out of bounds on the sideline. There you go. Stop the clock. 23 seconds left. Niners got a timeout to play with. Purdy's attacking sidelines. Shanahan's chomping on gum, working on a headset. The 49ers really don't have much of a hurry-up offense, so Brock is just going to spike the ball right there. And
okay, all right.
What are they looking at? Juwan Jennings, the ball got peanut punched out, but he had caught it.
I think so. Well, they're trying to hurry because of that. It was weird.
Right.
He was out of bounds, though.
Football move, 2 football moves, peanut punch, fumble, but
there was an A.J. Brown touchdown this season against the Rams that looked just like that. They gave A.J. the touchdown. And it was he caught it, had the step, and then lost it out of bounds exactly like this.
Yeah, made a football move because he's a football guy. All right, 3rd and 2. 3rd and 2 here for the Niners. Debo in motion. What do we got up your sleeve, Kyle? Purdy underneath to Kittle. Okay, Kittle turns it upfield, drops the elbow.
Oh, that could have been offensive pass interference. Yeah, I was going to say offensive pass interference. I think you're going to get him for offensive pass interference.
Where is this flag? Yeah, it looks like
offensive pass interference. Offensive pass interference. I would bet money on offensive pass interference. Just whenever you see two lines laid out in the secondary. Yeah.
By the way, and Hockey League calls offensive penalties more than any other more than any other official in football. His crew throws more flags on offensive holding and offensive man downfield more than anything else.
I was right here. Yeah. They've been cracking down on this all season. You got to make it look like a route. You got to make it look like a route. You have to make it look like a route. What it is, it just comes down to this. What you have to coach guys now is it's pinball. What you want to do is you just want to run your defender into one of his teammates. You don't want to run into him or you just want to run. You want him to knock into one of his teammates. Right. And that's the difference. Because if you do, there's nothing to call there if that happens. But if you are truly altering him and you are physical with him, that's going to get called. That sucks. That would have been, that would have had him right down there. But that's been called all season.
So on 3rd and 12, they don't pick up the first down.
All right.
Jake Moody.
Let's go, Moody.
Moody, if you miss this, look at it this way. If you make this field goal, you're probably still an off-season casualty. If you miss this field goal, you might not even come out for the third quarter.
That Bucs game was just egregious. And still the hero, right? I mean, still the hero in the end, I guess. But
he missed it. Dude, he missed it.
Oh.
Jake Moody. Moody's got it. He's officially on the gots to go.
Well, is it? I mean, how much do you put on that injury, right? I mean, that was at a tackle against the Cardinals, right? It was on a kickoff, right? He made the tackle. He got hurt against the Cardinals. Lost the Cardinals, by the way. It was a terrible game. But Moody. Yeah, it's been a weird season for kickers, right? I mean, any year in which Justin Tucker is having a down year, you could say anything's possible. But it has been a weird year for kickers.
Of course, the first year I've ever had Justin Tucker as my fantasy kicker. The wheels fall off.
This was not the year to have him. This was not the year to have him. It was not.
My roster was littered with not the year to have that guy, guys.
But just a weird season. Not only just in Tucker in Tucker faltering the season. What about Brandon Aubrey kicked a 65-yard field goal good, and the Cowboys took it off the board because it was a 15-yard penalty against the opponent, and then the Cowboys turned the ball over on down, so they never even got those 3 points back. Not only did they not turn it into 7, it was a -3 on the night, and it was a record-setting 65-yard field goal for Aubrey, and they took it off the board. It's a weird year. It just is. That is just strange to me. But yeah, this has been a hell of a performance for the Niners. This is the Niners team. I was telling people about 3 weeks ago. I was telling people, Niners are the one team that people didn't want to see in the playoffs, and it's the one team people are not gonna see in the playoffs. Right. we don't want to see him. Yeah, you're not gonna see him. So.
Yeah, I'm using that tomorrow with Kruger. I'm definitely using that line right there.
Come on.
My buddy Sam Betesh is joining us here as our second quarter guest on the Plus. It's great to have you for our watch party. We got a lot of people slipping on in now because it's halftime. So welcome. If you're just joining us, it is fantastic to have you here. We are brought to you. Our live stream is, as always, let me get this back up here, brought to you by our friends at BetUS. Right now, go and use promo code YouTube 150 to save big over at BetUS. 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. So thanks to BetUS. Thanks to our good friend Ike of Ike Sandwiches making it happen. By the way, sign up for that Ike's Love Rewards program. You get a free sandwich when you do sign up. Hopefully you're in a delivery area, and our good friends at the Dubliner in San Francisco. Love you guys at the Dubliner. Go in there. Get them to take great care of you. They certainly will. Muni drops you right off, picks you right up out front there at the Dubliner. Can't get better than that. Nearly 300 people in the room. Hit that like button right now. Subscribe, if you would, please. Here to Damon Bruce Plus and my good friend Sam Betesh's YouTube page that he is doing with Andrew Siciliano. Tell the people where to find you, Sammy.
Yes, please come check us out at Thinking Out Loud. You can actually get us. You can get the show at Thinking Out Loud. You can also at Siciliano Show. It actually exists both places, but at Thinking Out Loud is we get all the content from Andrew and Sam, and we are thrilled about that. And thanks to you, Damon, you have really forged the path here. What you've done with Bruce Plus is so special, and it just teaches people that if you want content, if you give great content, this is where you find it. You've done an amazing job with this channel. We love it, and we're trying to do a little bit of the same at Thinking Out Loud. And yeah, you can actually get it at Thinking Out Loud. Andrew and Sam. But yes, you'll find it there. And we've got a show that we're doing on Tuesdays and Fridays throughout the football season. It's been really fun and special for Andrew following him through this Brown season as well. I mean, there's been ups and downs and getting to know Jameis Winston, and it's all been so cool for him.
What a personality that guy's got.
Oh, it's amazing. If you haven't seen it, by the way, you got to go to Andrew's, any of Andrew's social media. But the piece that Andrew did with Jameis about his top 5, his rankings for his top 5 Thanksgiving foods, that is the most special thing I've seen yet this season. It is so amazing. Just watching Jameis talk about food, it should be a tradition.
I don't even know if he's got to deal with Popeyes, but he broke down like a 6-piece Popeyes wing chicken box the other day that was as thorough a breakdown as you will ever see of anything. I mean, it's a fast food chalk talk of the first degree. It really, really is. Thank you very much, Luis. How can you not be romantic about football? Let's beat these guys. Yeah, hey, do it. Do it.
Get it, but it just feels it feels. I don't know why it feels hollow to me, because we know that it doesn't hurt the Lions. This is one of those, you're not gashing them the way you want to. It just doesn't. It had the Packers won that game, man. Had the Packers completed that comeback, this would have been so special. This would have been so much.
Defend home turf if you can. Craig's Kitchen, Moody just lost his job. Yeah, he's not coming back. You cannot place any faith in that guy anymore. It's not his rookie season. I don't think there's an injury. If there's an injury, why did you let him back injured when you had off the street free agents doing a better job than he has? You can find kickers on the street, man. You don't need to draft him in the 3rd round. And when they're disappointing, you got to walk away. We can get a new kicker from the UFL. Thank you, Fuji Simeon. Yeah, you can find a kicker on a soccer field for the most part. It's okay to tell Moody to lock in now. Yeah, go up to Tabor Pepper. You guys lock the fuck in. Yeah, although Debo has not done much. Let's take a real quick look, though, Sammy.
Yeah, what's Debo doing? By the way, for the season, I was going to ask you how you feel about Debo this season. I'm a huge. I know, and I love what Debo brings to this team. I think Debo he might be the biggest difference maker on this team from an attitude standpoint. I love what Debo brings to this Niners team. He's part of that he just packs a punch offensively, and I feel like it makes Shanahan can do so much with him. And when he's in there and you can utilize him, see, without McCaffrey, it's different, because then you need to use him in those situations. But when you've got healthy McCaffrey and Debo is such a special player. When he needs to plug holes, it's not there. But when you've got McCaffrey and Debo gets to be the icing on the cake, that is this offense running its full clip.
I've always thought that Debo is the offensive violence that this team wants to play with, right? He is that guy who will run not around you, but through you. But unfortunately, I gave him the nickname earlier this year, and I'm still not coming off of it. He's Mr. Once a Month. He'll give you a really good game once a month, and then he'll be hard to find 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row. He might have been hurt during one of those weeks.
Plus a hamstring, right? Plus a hamstring somewhere in there.
Or he was out there for 55 plays and gave you 3 catches on 9 targets with 2 runs for less than 15 yards. It
feels impossible.
Disappointing year for him all the way around, but he doesn't separate like he used to. But he is a gadget guy. He is a supreme gadget guy. You don't want to pay gadget guys $28 million, but to cast him as another piece of the puzzle, not the starring piece of the puzzle, that's the role. He doesn't belong on the main stage of Lollapalooza. He's playing a side stage. He's a side
frankly, and his biggest impact this season might even be kickoffs. That's actually where he's been most consistent. That's where he's been most consistent this season.
Sam, let's just quickly look at some stats here at the half right now.
Let's do it. Come on, what do we got?
We'll start with some team stats. Try to grow this for everyone so they can see it a little bit better. Tell me, Sam, am I working out of bounds here?
This is good. This looks nice. This looks nice.
260 yards for the Niners at the half, 211 for the Lions. There has just been no resistance by either team's defense.
Give me the punting statistics here. No punters. This has been a nice night for that.
Look at yards per play, 8.4, 7.0. Defense need not apply to this game. You got both quarterbacks absolutely on fire tonight.
Yeah, I'm stunned. Rushing attempts for the Lions just is mind-boggling to me. I just don't again, in a season that matters this much to Detroit, to have lost Montgomery, to have lost, I can't remember, it's Sonic and who are they? Sonic the Hedgehog and whoever the sidekick is who Montgomery and Gibbs were this season. And to have lost that second, and now everything is on Gibbs, and to be running him as much as they are, I just don't understand it. I don't understand this. I don't understand why
9
Gibbs
touches, 60 yards. Look at that average for Gibbs right now. I mean, here's the thing. Craig Reynolds is basically giving you the same average. He's 6.5. The other guy's 6'7". You'd think you'd want Craig Reynolds to do most of the toting for you. And
this is what and again, this is your chance
play.
to see. Yeah, and this is your chance to see what he's got. Is this a guy that can beat your Thunder and Lightning? Your Tyrone Wheatley and Napoleon Kaufman, right? Wheatley won't go down.
Wheatley won't go. That was my single greatest contribution to NFL lore. Wheatley won't go down. I cut that highlight. Goddamn it!
You did. That was you.
Claim to fame.
I know it. That was you.
Was
get
me.
Off the cot. Cut that thing. Let's get it in. That played. That was all week. That highlight.
I mean, I could have screwed it up. I could have cut it. Wheatley won't. No. But I included the go down because I knew that was the money.
Greg Papa has you to thank for all of that, because without you in there, it's almost like it doesn't even happen. It's like we can wipe it out of the history books without you there.
When he's going into Canton, will I be invited? Will I get a Papa family invite based on the Wheatley won't go down highlight? That's the big question everyone wants to know. Welcome everyone to our 49ers Lions watch party. My good friend Sam Betesh hanging out with us here tonight, more than a second quarter guest. He's kicking it with us, and we certainly appreciate his time. And Sam, you are hardly a new to the bandwagon, just got here Eagles fan. You've been an Eagles fan. I've known you your entire life. Now, one of the things that has been a hair pull situation is, when teams think they have the wrong coach, fans insist they have the wrong coach, even though there is an observable, measurable level of success that the coach has had that everyone doesn't necessarily like. Nick Sirianni was wearing the crown of might be a good coach, but there's just something about him that rubs everybody the wrong way. And it's not just because everybody in Philadelphia is an asshole. Like, there's just something about this guy. It didn't seem like defensive players took to him. It didn't seem like defensive coaches wanted him even talking to players on the defensive side of the ball. And there seemed to be a level of dysfunction in that Eagles locker room. We saw Hurts and Brown get into it, a lot of finger pointing there. And through all of it, they keep on winning football games. Explain to me Nick Sirianni and why it works, even though so many people didn't think it would.
Well, it's different than Chip Kelly. So Chip Kelly was disliked not only by potentially the players, and of course, don't ask Deshaun Jackson or LaShawn McCoy about him. You'll get a very straightforward answer, but also by the media. Chip Kelly spoke in a way that he thought he was smarter than everybody else, and that does not go over well in Philadelphia. Sirianni doesn't have that problem. Go back to the first press conference where everyone made fun of him for the way that he spoke. But I want to curb all of this by saying when Sirianni got the job, it's not that I thought Sirianni was the wrong guy, but Peterson, remember there was a Peterson and Wentz situation going on at the time. And
Absolutely.
Wentz was out the building first. Wentz was gone. Wentz was now with Indianapolis. So everyone assumed Peterson kept the job. Like there was like a little bit of a battle going on. Is it going to be that it's coming down to Wentz or Peterson? Wentz goes. You think Doug Peterson's your coach? I mean, Doug Peterson's the statue, the Super Bowl, Philly special. Let's go, Peter. So when Peterson leaves, you're saying, okay, how are we replacing the only coach that ever won a Super Bowl for this team? And who's going to be better than that? And not only that, you're now hiring the former offensive coordinator's former offensive coordinator. Because remember, Frank Reich had Sirianni as his offensive coordinator. So Frank Reich is your Super Bowl offensive coordinator. He goes to Indy. His offensive coordinator was Nick Sirianni. You're hiring that guy now. And it felt, oh, wow. You're starting from nothing. I always warn people when you fire your head coach, remember, you're not starting at, we were 13-3 last season. Let's do better than that. No, you're starting at 0. So can you get back to that point? So for the Eagles, can we get back to a point where Peterson had us? Well, Damon, Sirianni is playoffs, Super Bowl appearance, playoff win. Sirianni is clearly doing things right. It's the results on the field, and it comes down to this season, him and Hurts got on the same page. Hurts did not respect Sirianni and the play calling last season. Something happened that I don't know if it's within the tush push, but something happened that Hurts now respects Sirianni, and they are on the same page. And let's not forget this. You talked about it with the Niners. Offensive and defensive coordinators, you don't just get rid of those guys and replace it immediately. Steichen and Gannon were the offensive defensive coordinators that got this team to the Super Bowl. They each get jobs in Arizona and in Indianapolis, and you replace them. And last season you've got your first year coordinators on both sides. You lost both coordinators. This is going to ripple the building. And then the defense was divided in the Matt Patricia replacement. That Seattle loss where Drew Lock beat the Eagles, that was it. It was over. It was one thing to lose they had beaten Buffalo in overtime. They got annihilated by the Niners, and then the next weekend destroyed by the Cowboys. It was still, you could still right the ship if you beat Seattle and went on to win the NFC East, but instead
wheels came off.
Replacing Patricia in a game where the defense gives up a massive play to Drew Lock to finish a loss like that. That was it. So he lost. I think he lost them all there. And this season is impressive. Here's the other thing. Remember this, Damon. No Cox and no Kelsey in that locker room. So this is new leadership from a quarterback that we know is not necessary. This is not Drew Brees before games rallying the guys. Hurts is not that guy. They are finding leadership elsewhere, and Sirianni helps that. And I also think somewhere they love the fiery part of Sirianni yelling at fans in Philadelphia that people love to criticize. I think deep down the team loves.
It actually works. It works in Philly because
it works in that city. It works in that city. It works for that team. They love the emotion. They want to follow that guy into battle. And the winning helps. The winning helps. The roster's great. The
fuck yous in Philly are so plentiful. The only proper way to meet it is with a no, fuck you too. That's how you say good morning in Philadelphia. It really, really is. And oh, by the way, you know who else is helping making things go in Philadelphia? Saquon Barkley. What a year he is having. He is, we knew he was good. I didn't know if we knew he was great. He is putting together one of the finest seasons any running back has ever had in this league by far. And there's absolutely no decision I'd think to be made next week. You sit him down. I would already, if you're Jeffrey Lurie, you're paying him. All bonuses that would have been triggered with 100 more yards, I'm giving them to you right here, man. You would have done that for us. That's what I would do.
If I'm going to sit here and yell about what the Niners and the Lions are putting on the field Monday Night Football in a game that really doesn't matter much to either team, it's hard for me to say get Barkley out there for the record. The other question is, how do you feel about the record in 17 games versus 16 games? Would you been somebody, if he gets the record on Sunday, are you someone that, I mean, I know Siciliano started this with us.
I wouldn't be the asterisk guy. By the way, third quarter is underway. Lions got the ball 1st and 10, and we're playing football, and we're playing generosity here with 650, who's coming in with our biggest super so far of the night.
Wow, damn, you got to drink to that, right?
Fitty spot goes into the ganja jar. Yeah, and here's the thing. 50 total supers get a bottle pull, or any 150 spot off the rip gets a bottle pull. This is for 650.
I'll have a sip of coffee for that one.
This is for a better first half than we thought. This is for Sammy. This is for Hanukkah 5.0, baby. Night number 5.
Yes, it is.
For all the little boys and girls who had great Christmases and are about to have great New Year's Eves. Cheers to all of you.
St.Brown limping. St.Brown limping a little bit, by the way.
Don't say we didn't warn you.
Again, it's interesting. I'd like to see Saquon get the record. I think the irony that it would be against the Giants is juicy, and you're going to want to see that.
New York, by the way.
It's in Philly, unfortunately. He already smashed them in New York earlier this season. But you can't change it because of all that happens, because of all the criticism that happens if he gets hurt. You just I think you have to. You cannot walk into that. And you're going to, and again, it's an opportunity to rest the line. It's an opportunity to rest Hurts another week. And because you're not in the conversation because the 1 seed's not an option anymore, you don't get the bye. You create your own bye here with this game. I think you have to take advantage of that, don't you? You have to take advantage of the bye that you now will get. You can give yourself a bye. And it's not just Barkley, right? You can't throw Barkley out there with the backup offensive line either. That's not fair. That's not fair to anybody. No. So I think, unfortunately, do I want to see him get the record? Yes. But I feel like there was a concerted effort this past Sunday to get him to 2,000. I think that's probably a conversation they already had. I think that's a conversation they already had, Damon. I think it was, let's make sure 2,000 is still an incredible marker. He's going to get 2,000 in 16 games. 2,000 in 16 games. Let's make sure he does that. It's still a nice knife against the Cowboys. And we'll let the Giants have a rest from the Hard Knocks backlash on we let him go to Philadelphia, and it has crushed everyone in this front office.
By the way, Goff with a freaking dot to Williams. Beautiful throw right over the middle of the field. And we've got the Detroit Lions coming out of the locker room on the march.
Damon, I'd love to ask everyone.
Already over midfield here. Let's see what happens. 1st and 10. Handing the ball off. Jahmyr Gibbs. Don't get hurt, Jahmyr. Don't get hurt.
Gibbs. I just don't
get hurt. By the way, SF Indigo's cracking one open. Love you, Plusers. Indeed. Love you guys, too. We have Fuji Simeon. Do the Giants fire Dable after the season? It feels like there's going to be a big house cleaning in New York right now, doesn't it?
What can you hold on to? What are you holding on? Jones is already gone. I mean, what are you holding on to, right? So Daniel Jones gone. You feel like, I mean, the Joe Shane thing just, I don't know how you survived the Hard Knocks offseason and what happened.
I mean, we got it on film. I mean, I see my Twitter timeline every single time Barkley's in the end zone. I see Jahmyr saying, I'll be heartbroken if he goes to Philadelphia.
And by the way, watch and Damon, watch the next episode when Saquon actually becomes an Eagle. Mara goes into his office and he just says, I think we were a little timid on this one. That's just brutal. I mean, that's brutal. And now to have 2,000 yards staring at you. Yeah, it feels like Dable's been great. I mean, Dable's
goal. We got 1st and goal. I've got my direct TV was behind. All of a sudden the lines are in business right now. Incomplete. That was to Amon-Ra, St.Brown. And by the way, Douglas says Amon-Ra is one heck of a name. What's even more amazing is that the family's surname was just Brown. But his father didn't think that was sexy enough, so he added the Saint. Now, I know more about religion than I practice it. There is no St. Brown. There is no St. Brown in the collection of Catholicism.
There is now.
There is now. The best thing, though, is he doesn't even have the best name in his family. Amon-Ra St. Brown has got a heck of a name, but his brother's name is Equiminius St. Brown.
That's a mic drop of a first name.
Equiminius St. Brown. That's just a father who's coming up with some fabulous names.
The Niners are going to get another red zone stop here. Niners, by the way, Niners defense has been brutal in the red zone this season.
Terrible.
It was last up to 2 weeks ago. I believe they were last in red zone defense, which is stunning from the Niners. That's just not what you expect at all. But they got a great stop to end the first half. And
you want to talk about a subtraction of violence when Dre Greenlaw went down. That's where the season kind of started falling apart there too. Here we go. Big play. 3rd and goal. 3rd and goal. You got to figure this is 2-down territory. It won't need to be 2-down territory because that is touchdown territory to Sam Laporta. There you go. And now the Lions will go for 2. 6-yard touchdown reception, and the Lions are trying to tie this one up, going for 2 right here, right now.
The week of tight ends continues.
We got a cooker at Levi Stadium here.
Wow.
Sammy.
This has been, I mean, again, remember the last time these two teams were in this building? I mean, it was Brandon Ayuk caught a ball off a deflection against his helmet. I mean, when the
rough
NFC
night
championship.
Yadam.
Yeah. This is, wow.
2-point convert. By the way, the Lions have only gone for 2 once this year and are 0 for 1 on their 2-point conversions. You'd think that
I would not have
aggressive Dan Campbell.
I would have lost that
more
trivia.
Aggressive there, and that is a 2-point conversion converted.
Okay,
Patrick.
One
there
for
you
2.
go.
So the Lions are. I mean, they're playing this like it matters. Period. Clearly, right? I thought second half maybe we'd see a lot less, but they are absolutely playing this like it matters.
Dan Campbell warned you.
Doesn't matter if you have 1 ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Doesn't matter if you're going to the playoffs or sitting in last place in the NFC West. We're coming out here to fuck shit up. I mean, he did. He said that at the press conference, and I thought, well, that's the kind of thing Dan Campbell is always going to say at the press conference. What is he really going to do when he gets out here and he finds out that this game is utterly meaningless? Win or lose this game, you battle for week 1. Or you battle for a bye week and a 1 seed next week, win or lose. But
I mean, you just didn't need this. I mean, look, I guess you don't want to throw anything down on tape that isn't your best, but this is just an odd decision. I guess, look, it's all out the window. If they win the game next week, if no one gets hurt and they win against Minnesota, none of this matters, right? They got the 1 seed. This game is forgotten. But
and this game will have a referendum on it. It'll be like, and that's why this team is now the culture of winning. And Dan Campbell, and you never take your foot off the gas pedal. And when you got a chance to choke a guy, you choke a guy.
But what do you? I mean, it's like
all that tough guy shit.
It just doesn't. I don't know. It still doesn't matter. It just doesn't affect the most important thing this season. But that's fine. I wanted to ask you though. So Niners, outside of this season, Niners are the best team in the NFC of the last 3 seasons. I mean, everyone likes to say if Purdy's healthy in that NFC Championship, they win that. I'll go down that road, even though it hurts me to say it as an Eagles fan. And by the way, Reddick destroyed Purdy on that. I mean, he did not play in that game because he was just hurt before. No. The Eagles defensive line destroyed 2 quarterbacks in that game. But
yeah, Josh Johnson peed right down his own leg too.
Yes, but for what I'm going to ask you, if the Niners have been the best team in the NFC, I feel like no one better to ask. I mean, who's the best team in the NFC this year? Next week's going to tell us that one of them.
I think it's the Vikings and the Eagles.
It's interesting. It is. It's hard for me to say that the Eagles are the best team in the NFC, but to have the number 1 defense and the number 1 rushing offense. The league isn't necessarily about running and defense anymore per se, but those are 2 nice categories to lead in.
I'll almost disagree with you there, man, because I've said this out. Football at any level, from flag football to the Super Bowl, it's about blocking and tackling. Everything else is just, fast guys throwing shit around and everyone's got them. How good at blocking and tackling are you? That is where the sport is decided, on the line of scrimmage and by linebackers not letting shit get behind them. And
look, then categorically,
that's
having the best.
Do.
Yeah, that means that you're telling me that the number 1 offensive line and defensive line in football essentially is, because you're talking overall defense and it's predicated on that defensive line and Jalen Carter. And then you're talking about running the ball, your offensive line. That it's pretty tough to argue against both of those. I'll say wire to wire, the Vikings feel like the best team. And of course, week 18 is going to change this conversation dramatically. But if you're through 17 weeks, and of course the lines we're going to see exactly. But again, even without this tonight, the Lions resume is still spectacular. I think wire to wire, the Vikings. And then again, if this was college football, how could you debate that? Because who's the lot? The Vikings lost head to head with the Lions. I mean, they lost to the Lions. So it's hard to count the Lions out of that as well. It's a very difficult conversation. And to me, the one I will say this much, and I'll of course I'll hate this.
All I know later. Is that nobody who loses to Vanderbilt is going to be in this postseason.
You're right. No. You know what? Let's go that as it should be. Packers are an interesting one because the Packers have lost twice to the Vikings, twice to the Lions, twice the Vikings, and to the Eagles. So the Packers, it's hard to their resume is impressive, but then when you really dissect who the losses are, it's hard to really see them beyond that. But they could do anything. Last year they had the Niners on the ropes. Packers are the Niners on the ropes in the division.
It's so funny. The 49ers, the 3 games that they played in the postseason, the best game they played is the Super Bowl they lost. And the 2 games that they played to get there were their 2 worst games almost of the year.
Ugly
really
games.
By the way, we break for supers as always. And Justin Rodriguez says, I don't know about all, but I think Sorensen should get the boot in this offseason. And look, I would, Kyle's already selling the topic of consistency. Kyle is already talking about he thinks he's going to grow as a coach. And so Kyle's already setting the table for his return. By the way, the Ricky Pearsall game is happening right in front of our eyes.
I love that it's
happening. Ricky Pearsall. Oh, Ricky, run, Ricky. The Bay Area could use a Ricky after losing poor Ricky Henderson.
Oh, Ricky Henderson. You know what? Yeah, cheers to that, Ricky
Let's
Henderson.
Go, Ricky. Yeah, by the way, you know what? That gets a bottle pull, too, for Ricky fucking Henderson. Fuji Simeon, do the 49ers go to Moody the rest of the game? I would. You know what? Let him kick himself right off this team. I mean, he is their only dressed kicker, so yeah, I'm guessing they will. But again, if you're going to be playing this game, you might as well stay aggressive. And George Kittle is definitely now over 1,000 yards for the season. Let's get that guy out of the game. Hey, diddle. Look at George Kittle.
I feel bad for Moody, who was having a great season and really a great early Niners career because of what's happening. He's struggling because he got hurt making a play that we want. We celebrate when kickers make tackles. We think as fans, we love to see it. And yet that's what's really costing him here. He made, it was not a pretty play that he made.
By the way, George Kittle really is truly great Niners since I started covering the team. You can count them on one hand. I mean, true, unquestioned level greatness. Some people put Joe Staley in this conversation. Joe Staley is on the all-time really good team. I don't know if Joe Staley's great. I don't know if he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. He was an important Niner. Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman, George Kittle, Frank Gore. It's a short list. It's a short list of true greatness, and Kittle has played his way onto it, man. He is everything that is right about the sport of football. Everything you want in a tone setter in the locker room, you get in George Kittle. You really do.
Juszczyk's not on your list, really? I feel like it. Okay.
No, not on the list.
Debo could have been. Debo's trying to get on your list right now. Debo's trying to get on your list right now.
Look at Debo. Look at this team showing up on a night they could have packed it in. I mean, half of the conversations I was having leading into this game was Niner fans just saying, don't get embarrassed tonight. And I said, look, I would rather no one get hurt tonight. Embarrass them all you want. The embarrassment of this season's already baked into the cake. You're not going to the playoffs. You were a Super Bowl team last year. Like, you can't avoid embarrassment. If you can avoid a bad game, great.
Avoid it.
But if you lose, you're helping next season, which matters more than this season. Yet at the same time, you get into a football game and you want to win it. So go Niners. Let's see if Moody hits this point after. He damn well better. He did.
There you go, Purdy. We all hold our breath.
Just
give me your list again. Give me your list, Niners, since you covered them. Give me the greats. You said it was
Willis, Bowman, Frank Gore.
Yeah. I'm with you.
We got some really good honorable men. Justin Smith, I think makes the team.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Smith was badass. Sure. Alden Smith had moments of badassery, but unfortunately that came apart way too fast.
It did.
Vernon Davis was very good for a very long time, but Kittle has removed him from the best tight end that I've covered.
Underrated play, Vernon Davis' career. I was going over this. Someone was asking me about heartbreaking Saints losses in the playoffs the other day, and everyone remembers the walk-off the Minnesota Miracle, and I said, you know what? If you really want to go back and look at an absolute gut-wrench game for the Saints, it also is my favorite Alex Smith game of all time. But Alex Smith versus Drew Brees in an epic battle. This was, I think, 2009, Damon. But the Alex Smith to Vernon Davis with 14 seconds to go, I believe it's sort of the catch number 2 in Niners lore, because obviously you've got the T.O. crying against the Packers game. But that Vernon Davis from Alex Smith is such a gorgeous play in Niners history to beat the Saints. When, by the way, the Saints, Brees had just hit Jimmy Graham to take the lead in that game. This was divisional, I believe.
Right.
And it was such a special game, and what a comeback by the Niners. In fact, was that the year Kyle Williams dropped the punt in the NFC Championship? I think it was that season.
I think it was. Yes. Yeah. And look, this was that was a great game. Jimmy Garoppolo had one of his best games in the Voodoo Dome against the Saints.
Yes.
But I thought you were going to go in another direction. I thought you were going to go to Saints heartbreak. Do you remember the Ahmad Brooks strip sack of Drew Brees that was turned into a roughing the passer?
Oh,
and
man.
That's where that season just was altered. They would have been the 1 seed with that win, but they weren't. They were on the road, and then we all know what happened.
Brutal. I remember that, of course. I remember that. But, man, that Vernon Davis catch is really, go back, and you're going to put Vernon. I think Vernon with that play could have been one of the greats. One of the, but Kittle on your list, I think, is absolutely there. And Debo, again, for what Debo does, I just think you're right. Consistency wise, he needs Ayuk out there to really, when they're healthy, Debo is there. He is special, but not when you have to lean on him that much.
There you go. Never forget that Hittner head.
Yes.
That's right. Dante Whitner, baby.
Yes.
out there just cracking dudes.
And by the way, what a shame also.
Now Debo can say it's a Moody lock in. Yes, Debo has done something. He can go talk his shit to his kicker now, and Tabor Pepper has to sit there and take it.
Right. Although it was the snapper that he was upset with, right? Is that how that went?
He told Moody to lock in, and Tabor Pepper turns around and drops the old "How dare you!" And then like his hands went on Tabor Pepper's neck, and that can't happen. Anyway, Barry Ford, who the hell is this team? Look at him. Look at the 49ers coming out full of piss and vinegar in week 17 when the year is over. Great.
Yeah, just when you needed it. Just when you needed it. Like I said, where was this in the snow?
I will say this. I think that this is a game that is going to give whoever beats the Lions in the postseason an awful lot of tape on how to do it. The fact that the Lions cannot get any penetration against the 49ers third team offensive line is why they're not going to go to the Super Bowl. They've just been so injured up front. I think that, it's going to catch up with them eventually, and it's going to catch up against a really good team in the playoffs.
Yeah, Hutchinson is a Super Bowl caliber player. He makes that much of a difference, and to not be out there eventually, you would think that would catch up to them. It absolutely could be. I'm so fascinated at what we're seeing here with the Niners and Lions both trying as hard as they are in this game that ultimately
Goff to Laporta, big play down the middle, but we got a flag.
By the way, I was going to ask you this. Fred Warner is having such an unbelievable season. The amount of things that are happening for the Niners this year that you're going to say, wow, wasted and just sort of forgotten, just wiped. Warner is just funny every week.
He is the queen on the chessboard. He moves in all directions as well as any linebacker I have ever seen play. He is the one guy who might be better in coverage than he is against the run, and he's still really good against the run. He's played this year on a broken ankle that we didn't find out about until 4 or 5 weeks after he broke it, which means the 49ers should be paying $1 million of NFL fines for not letting that guy hit the injury report. They should at least have to pay my gambling debts, because there's a lot of games where I would have not taken the Niners and those points and laid them had I know this guy were out there playing with a broken ankle. And he did it in like week 4, and he played great. He was defensive player of the year out of the chute. And then there was a little pullback on that, and it's because he had a broken ankle.
Impressive. This
Don't lie to me, Sammy. Don't lie to me on the injury reports. I guess
it's horrible. Well, again, you said Eagles or Vikings the best team in the NFC. I really, you know what? I think it's a more interesting.
Rams going to crash the party? I don't.
Here's why. I've seen the Ram. Obviously, look, Saquon had the record-setting day against the Rams in LA, so it's tough for me to see the Rams turning that entirely around. And there's just the NFC just feels like there's tears. AFC, I see more upset potential in the AFC because I think the Steelers can still beat anybody in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and I don't know that you have that team. I don't know that you have that team on the underbelly of the NFC playoff picture. I don't think the Packers can beat the two teams in their division. They've had 2 cracks at it. They haven't done. I just don't think it's going to happen in the playoffs. I think it gives you an upper hand to get a third try, but I don't see it happening. And I think again, Washington likely would have to go through Philadelphia. And I think the Eagles understand what they have to do against Washington. So I don't think that is much of a surprise. And the NFC South.
God, we got Nick Bosa taking down Jared Goff on 3rd and 3, bringing up a 4th down that takes the Lions out of field goal range. That takes them out of let's run a play on 4th down consideration. And I do believe we are about to see
our first
punt of the evening for either team in this football game. First punt of the night coming up right here. Nick Bosa getting it done.
There you go. Wow.
We are going to have a
okay. Here we go. Field goal attempt. How long is this one?
57-yarder.
Okay.
Yeah, 57-yarder. Jason Hansen, eat your heart out. Golden toe, wherever you are. That was right down the middle.
57 was clean.
Right down the middle. That was good. That would have been good from 65. Jesus.
Bosa. Nothing to show for it, but nice play. I don't understand how Goff's in this game. I just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me at all. It doesn't. I was going to say, I think the NFC is more interesting with Minnesota as the 1 seed. I think that's, I think that obviously it sets up super wild card weekend. You get to see Detroit and Philly. And I do think Baker Mayfield could beat anybody. I think that could happen. I think once. I don't think Baker can win 3 games in the playoffs, but I could see Baker Mayfield beating anybody. That's just there's something there.
Which NFC team wears the crown of would rather not play him? The Buccaneers or the Rams?
Yeah, right now people are going to say the Rams. The Rams get to rest next week now, which is interesting. I'm so stunned the NFC West has decided in week 17. It was a nice sort of domino that had to happen for all of that. By the way, there was a nice roulette of items that had to happen for Seattle to be wiped off the map, but it did happen on Sunday night with Washington. I think the Rams resting makes that really, the fact that Tampa absolutely, again, it's New Orleans, so we would think they're going to win that game, but Tampa feels like I'm a little more. I guess as an Eagles fan, I've seen Tampa smash the Eagles to end last season, smashed them during this season. Again, that was a game with AJ Brown didn't play either of those games, so that's a different story. But Tampa, I have a scary place in my heart for Tampa. That they seem like the team that could beat anybody.
By the way, while we are in a little bit of a holding pattern because the game's in commercial break right now, just welcome to the Plus. Like and subscribe right now. If you would please hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. We want to always thank you for the super chats, for watching, for the generosity, for sharing the video, spreading this word of mouth. We really, really appreciate it. That's great advertising. We thank our great sponsors. As always, I am brought to you by Ike's Sandwiches. My man's got some love and sandwiches just waiting for you. Make sure you sign up for that rewards program. You can be entered to win a trip to New Orleans for a very large football game that will be played there in the month of February. Our friends at the Dubliner, Kenny and John, are ready to welcome you to the Dubliner and West Portal. Come on in, tell them we sent you. And as always, make your plays over at BetUS, no matter where you are. This is the offshore account that you need, and use promo code YouTube150 for a 150% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on that first deposit. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to our good friend Sam Betesh for being here. And in case you want to know where you can find Sam Betesh whenever he is around, I want you to subscribe to Thinking Out Loud. That is his YouTube page that he does with Andrew Siciliano, and you guys are great together.
Thanks so much. Yeah, the pod as well. You can get us at Apple Podcasts, at Spotify as well. Thinking Out Loud with Andrew Siciliano and Sam Betesh. And we are talking about this league every Tuesday and Friday. Sometimes Andrew's complaining about travel during the holidays, etc. Sometimes we're talking about how gross mayonnaise is. But most of the time we're talking about this league and MVP debates all over the place, which I know we're going to have. And also just to try to find out. In fact, Andrew did a great job dissecting how the Rams could win the West this week. And it happened. It was because it was really interesting. It was really interesting.
Do you like dip?
Yeah. Do you like?
Do you like dip? Do you like dips with your chips?
Overall, yes. Overall,
do you like potato salad?
Mayonnaise I will say I'm a little less aggressive about this than Andrew is. If you do something interesting with mayonnaise, I will try it.
Okay.
Andrew is if I can sense mayonnaise anywhere, it's disgusting. Get it away from me. But if you do something interesting with it, I don't like. Here's what I don't like mayonnaise as an assumed on my sandwich on the bread. Gotta have it. White mayonnaise. I don't need it. Okay.
Oh, so you want a little clearance in the mayonnaise department.
Exactly. Just be upfront with me. If you've got the lettuce tomato is on that sandwich, tell me there's mayonnaise. Also, you're listing ingredients. Mayonnaise needs to be listed. You got to tell me that there's mayonnaise. I have to know that. I can't just assume, it's a sandwich that has mayonnaise.
I appreciate that. If you're just looking for information, I'll give you that information. I'm pro mayonnaise. I love tartar sauce. I like mayonnaise. I like Russian dressing. I like all dips. I like pretty much all, like, you know,
I'm a fan of dips. And I'm a fan of interesting items with mayonnaise. But overall, if you just white mayonnaise happening, I don't necessarily need it. And I don't like seeing a lot of it. There's a drink in Japan with mayonnaise that I just absolutely
cannot. Let's not get crazy. By the way, Brock Purdy just overthrew Ricky
Pearsall. Oof. And this is the Pearsall. Where are we with Pearsall right now? Where are we? What do we stand on the yardage count? By the way, it's been interesting.
Where are we? We're living in a Ricky Pearsall world. He has got 5 catches, which is a new career high for him. 102 yards, which is a career high for him. And the Lions just got the turnover they needed. And I'll tell you, the 49ers have not lost a game when Brock Purdy has not accounted for a turnover. Brock Purdy just accounted for a turnover. He oversailed Ricky Pearsall, and Shanahan is pissed. Oh boy, he's pissed off. Man,
that is not great. Purdy was looking good.
SF Indigo just says, "Look, we talk Mayo. Brock throws a pick.
This is what happens. You see what mayonnaise can do. You see what mayonnaise can do." And we were signing Brock's $55 million check earlier. He did have a perfect night going.
I appreciate the what is it, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, but I don't think there has been a new bowl that has captured America's heart quite like the Pop-Tart Bowl. It's
true. Although I was also surprised the Snoop Dogg Bowl was pretty exciting. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad there was a game named after Snoop Dogg. But I think you're right. The Pop-Tart situation was captivating, and which we said goodbye to the strawberry Pop-Tart. Which Pop-Tart did we say goodbye to? I can't remember. But one of them was discontinued.
Who? Yeah, I don't know who officially got let go. I think what cinnamon was the champion celebration Pop-Tart.
Correct. So
for someone who's so interested in it, I got to tell you, I don't remember much about it.
It's okay. That's all right. So. That's all right. I'm with you on that. But
I got mush
overall.
Mush for brains.
So Brock, that's really the first turnover of the game, right? Other than on downs. Yeah.
The first mistake, and the Lions are going to get the ball now on the 49ers side of business of midfield, and their best starting position of the entire game here, against a defense that is bowed up once to force a 57-yard field goal. Still no punts in this game. Zero punts in this game. So I don't think we're going to get one here. So
no, Lions at midfield. This seems unlikely. This seems very unlikely on this drive. Let's see if we can go the whole game without one, which happened in a Super Bowl. So
let's Purdy just oversailed this to Pearsall.
Oh, yeah. This was again as Pearsall was building.
He just as if 31 Detroit was the intended receiver. Yeah. I mean, just hit him in the numbers. Just Joseph, just boom. Yeah, this was rough. Okay. Dan Campbell's like, you get a hold of him?
Come on, D's nuts.
Sure did.
Sure did. Oh man. Detroit is playing to win. I don't get it. This game means just so little.
Set a tone.
Yeah, set a tone. But I mean, you got to set the tone next week. Set a tone in the NFC Championship game. And this is just not that. This isn't that. This isn't. And they set the tone, by the way. I still go back to all those decisions in the NFC Championship game. And Dan Campbell setting his culture, going for 2, going for it on 4th down. And it's just, it didn't work in that game. It didn't. No. The totality of the season, it worked. But in that game, it did not.
You got to, there's the thing. You got to know when to be aggressive, and you got to know when to sort of start playing percentage points. And Dan, I love his aggressive nature. I really do. But it absolutely, it did him in. It did in Detroit in the NFC title game. And I guess this will be the postseason where we find out whether or not he's learned from that, right?
That's it. There's going to be a moment. There's going to be a moment. I don't expect them. They blew out plenty of teams this season, but I don't think they're going to blow out 3 teams and win the Super Bowl that way. There's going to be a moment. There's going to be a moment where they're going to have to make the right call. I love what Campbell's done. By the way, Coach of the Year, real quick. It's interesting. I guess if Denver gets in, Peyton's going to get a lot there too. But and frankly, even in the NFC North, actually, I think O'Connell over Campbell. That's a more surprising story, and I know a lot of times it goes to that, and that seems to be the sexier pick there. But to lose JJ McCarthy and have Darnold lead this team to the playoffs, whether they win the division or not, just to the Vikings to the playoffs, to be in the conversation for best team in the league at one point, to be undefeated as long as they were. Minnesota is, I think that's the story.
I think Kevin O'Connell qualifies, but it's almost, he'll be undone by the talent that, he put together, right?
Yeah.
The Vikings are good. O'Connell is great. I think there was an expectation of them being good, so no one's that blown away.
Are they? But in that division, not really. This was the Lions. This was going to be a Lions Packers conversation this year. This was not supposed to be the Vikings in there. It wasn't.
Right. It's funny. No one thought of Sam Darnold being the guy.
This was a JJ McCarthy situation. This was not about Darnold at all.
If JJ McCarthy did not get hurt and plays the year, what are the Vikings?
at best, right? I mean, you've already got two. I mean, two rookies made a massive impact. I mean, Nix and Daniels obviously are playing. So JJ could have had the Vikings in the mix in that way, but they're not this. They're not vying for the 1 seed. They're not.
First and goal, the Vikings, or excuse me, the Lions run to the left tackle, bringing up 2nd and goal here. But these are very important downs here in the final minute of the 3rd quarter for the 49ers.
Again, this red zone defense.
Let's see if they do anything to bow up tonight. They have done nothing to slow down the Detroit Lions, but for a Nick Bosa sack, which looked like it might have pulled him out of field goal range. It did not. 2nd and goal here, 38 seconds, 37, 36 to sync it up where you. That's where I am on my direct TV feed here. Little play action. Jared Goff, lots of time, scanning the end zone, throws incomplete. So we're going to be looking at 3rd and goal. And of course, while I'm trying to do play-by-play, my TV freezes.
Nice. That's helpful. I got you.
Like
I'll be behind you.
I'm going to be like Joe Starkey. I'm going to do play-by-play, and I won't say whether or not anyone caught anything.
That's okay. Yeah. Keep them guessing, Damon. Keep them guessing.
Jared Goff throws the ball. That's where I leave it off. And you know what? Jared Goff, Cal quarterback. Joe Starkey did that play-by-play.
He did that. For the 5 interception game against Utah.
Throw to St.Brown. That is incomplete. So 4th and goal.
All right, Dan Campbell, what do we think?
3 points doesn't get you even.
He's going for it, right? I mean, what are you here?
By the way, that was a really nice pressure from Nick Bosa.
Yeah,
that was a real nice pressure for Nick. They're just throwing after Yadam tonight. Yadam is without a doubt the
target,
the conflict defender identified by the Lions. All right, 4th and goal. Dan Campbell.
Come on, Dees. Dees nuts.
Let's see what he's got on 4th and goal.
Yadam did nothing there other than put his arms out at the end. And the ball sailed out of bounds.
that was a very easy, untouched touchdown right there. And the Detroit Lions are now whipping the 49ers directly into the camera. Went to the whip hand on that one. Look at this play. St.Brown. How
was he forgotten?
Runs a perfect little
How's he forgotten? How's he forgotten? How's St.Brown forgotten there? Forgotten. Unaccounted for. Unaccounted for.
Dude, Renardo Green, let him go.
No, he's unaccounted for.
Dude, there's been communication.
Oh, God, no.
Communication problems all season. So, had Jake Moody not missed a field goal earlier in the game, this game would be tied right now. Instead, it is 31-28, Lions in the lead as we're closing down the 3rd quarter here. Renardo Green was not where he needed to be on that play.
Ouch.
Not where he needed to be. Sammy, what New Year's Eve plans you got going on tomorrow night? What are you doing?
This is you remember one of my best friend, my best friend, really, Jason Nathanson, who you know well. He was in San Francisco with us. We're going to his house and watching movies and doing it very chill this year. It's really going to be, Allie and I are doing it very chill. How about the Bay Area? What do we got? What you and Jillian picking up?
Jillian and I, it's so funny. Before we had kids, what we started doing on New Year's Eve are Lego projects. Because we just were tired of going out and getting screwed on, prices and too many people waiting in line at a bar. And it wasn't like New Year's Eve. We used to go out when we were young.
You and I have done some, absolutely.
That doesn't happen anymore. So what I'm going to do tomorrow night is we're going to hang out with the kids. We're going to get them in bed at 9:00. We're going to let them watch, the New York version of the ball dropping. And I am going to get the fish show from Madison Square Garden. I'm going to get the live stream. So I'm going to watch the New Year's Eve show from MSG tomorrow night.
Good for you. Good for you. That sounds beautiful. I mean, why does that sound so nice now? I mean, it officially
pop downstairs, smoke my bowls, go upstairs. Happiest dad the kids have ever seen. Why's dad so happy?
Just that dad's got his happy medicine going. We're okay. We're okay.
Like, dude, dad's got the ganja jar open. He's got a 3rd set at Madison Square Garden ringing in the new year. Nice. He's got himself a hell of a Monday Night Football live stream with Sam Betesh under the belt.
It's done. It's done. I mean, that truly puts a cap on the year, which I like. I love that. I love basically ringing in the new year with you right here, which is nice. But it'll be similar to this.
Ringing into New Year's. Now, what is Levi doing tonight for the 5th night of Hanukkah? What is going on in the Betesh household?
So right now we actually, so Allie's parents, so he's got, as he calls them, Grammy and Gaga are now running around the house with him, and he will be lighting the candles. In fact, he's probably lighting the candles right now, and he's doing that one without me. I kind of taught him this. I said, okay, look,
shouldn't you be Baruch Atah in this?
I said, Levi, I'm going to teach you Baruch Atah Adonai here so that you can handle it by the 5th night. By the 5th night, you got to be able to take the reins on this and make it happen. That's what we need. That's what we need on this. All right. We need you doing it. And so he's at this point, he's ready and we can make that happen. So that's fine. And he's got his grandparents here and tomorrow night he's going to be with them as well. I think that's how he's spending New Year's. So he gets to be with them and we don't have to worry about it, which is fantastic. But that's what I mean. At this point, you're getting the kids by 9 o'clock. That's it, right? You're just you're doing the pretend. I think Levi's going to do that with his grandparents tonight. That's what he's doing. He's running around. And by the way, each night, we kind of did a Christmas with Levi. You know, we went to my parents' house last Tuesday night. We woke up, we did the Christmas. So he's got both happening right now. He's doing both, which is, I kind of want to teach him, let him see it all and let him kind of decide maybe which one overall he leans towards. But I still do both. Again, my mom was raised Catholic, so we did both. So I had Hanukkah, I had the 8 nights plus the special Christmas morning, and I want Levi to see it all and to have those traditions in his life as well.
I love it, man. Well, hey, I can't ask you to just keep going unless you really want to avoid the in-laws. In which case,
I'll run out. I'll do the candles right now. I'll run out and do the candles. If you need me, look, text me and I'll hop back in. I mean, this has been unbelievable, Damon. I have loved every bit of this, and I'll only say this much. I really think MVP. I think you put a nice button on that. The fact that maybe Mahomes deserves a little more conversation in the MVP. I'll say this much. I really do think week 18, all of the outcomes come into play here. So I'll say this much. Barkley would have to break the record to get it. I really think that, I think winning the game against the Cowboys the way they did without Hurts gives a little more credence to that. Had they really beaten Washington without Hurts, that would have maybe said, okay, now they did something without. And so Barkley was really valuable in that way. But again, if Barkley breaks the record, if Lamar wins the AFC North, if Burrow gets the Bengals in, if Goff wins the 1 seed. So those are all the ifs. So these are all the dancing factors that I think still play a major factor. And then if none of those are that impressive, it's Allen. And of course, Allen's the favorite in Vegas. So does Allen sitting down? I think week 18 is going to play in. I think if Barkley plays and gets the record, there's going to be a lot more people thinking maybe. But, and we're watching a guy tonight that could get it. Goff could win it. Goff could absolutely win it. But don't forget about Burrow either. Burrow really had, if you look at all the categories for what a quarterback does, Burrow is having a spectacular season.
Everyone go and like and subscribe to Thinking Out Loud with my good friend Sam Betesh and Andrew Siciliano. Do it now. Download it wherever you get your podcasts. Sammy, give everyone in the family a big kiss for me. All right, brother?
Thank you so much, D. We love you. This is special. Enjoy the fourth quarter. I'm here for you anytime. Love the watch party and everything at your channel. Bruce Plus. Excellent. Thank you, D.
Thank you, brother. There he is. Sam Betesh, boys and girls. The one, the only. I've known that guy forever. That guy knows where so many Bay Area radio bodies are buried, and as good of a person as you will find in an industry full of snakes. Seriously, that's my guy right there. I love Sammy. Glad that he could join us tonight.